The last time that I wore this sweater out in public, my mom told me that I look like a Muppet, so thanks a lot, Mom. Hello, my beautiful friends. So I know I am about a week late as far as Valentine's Day content goes, but I still wanted to contribute my Valentine's Day video here. So for today's video, I decided to turn this old chocolate box into a fully functional Z palette. And I decided to put in some beautiful Valentine's Day themed eyeshadows here that I think would go great for Valentine's Day because we have this adorable box, so we might as well utilize it to hold our Valentine's Day eyeshadows. But without further ado, let's jump right on in. So before we get into these beautiful Valentine's Day eyeshadows and putting together the Z palette, I owe 100% of this video idea credit to one of my subscribers, Yvonne. She suggested this idea and I thought it was an amazing idea because in one of my pay or stay aways, I was talking about how I wanted to purchase basically a heart-shaped eyeshadow palette, and even though I knew I had all the colors inside the palette, I just wanted it because it was in a cute little heart-shaped box, and you know, it's that time of year and I'm a sucker for marketing sometimes, I can admit it. So she, being the sweetheart that she is, suggested to me, girl, save your money, turn an old chocolate box, if you have one lying around, into a Z palette. And I just so happened to have an old chocolate box lying around. This is like from 2013. Why I kept it, I don't know. I don't know the answer to all these things. It's adorable, okay? That's why I kept it. So thank you so much to my beautiful subscriber, Yvonne. I love you. You are amazing for suggesting this idea to me. But if you want to see how I created the Z palette and to see the different shadows that I picked out for it here, then go ahead and keep on watching and let's get into it. So obviously, this is not just your average Z palette. This is legitimately made out of an old Valentine's Day chocolate box. Now, obviously, the inside of the chocolate box does not come with a magnetic surface. So I went down to the craft warehouse and I just picked up for like $2.99 3 different sheets of magnetic paper here. It's literally just a magnetic flat strip of paper that has a sticky adhesive side on one side. But I picked 3 of those babies up and I basically just lined them all together, traced around the actual Valentine's Day box itself to get the heart shape to fit as close as possible. Now, is it 100%? I'll share a little secret with you. It's not 100%, but we're almost there. It's good enough for me. I'm not a perfectionist, obviously, but I think that it looks pretty decent. And this type of magnetic paper is meant to be cut, it's meant to be painted on, it's meant to basically use as like an arts and crafts type of tool. So it was really easy to cut, and since it has that adhesive layer to it, I was able to just peel the backside off and slap one of these on and basically get them to stick down without having to really try. It was a super simple process, and I've actually done this before with magnetic paper because I am always constantly running out of Z palettes. I don't know how I am able to fill them up so quickly. I have like the 99 pan giant freaking Z palette that's the size of a table. I have that and it's completely full. And I have a bunch of rogue lone Z palettes on their own and they get filled up too. And although Z palettes aren't the most expensive things in the world, they can be a little bit more on the pricey side. And if you don't have to go out and purchase a $20 Z palette, then why do it? So I spent about $9 in total on this project and it's a giant heart-shaped Z palette. How adorable is that? But obviously I went ahead and picked out some Valentine's Day themed eyeshadows. Now, you guys know me, I typically go for like pinks and purples and reds, and we definitely have pinks and purples and reds in here, but I tried to mix it up a little bit more, threw some teals in, threw some, I don't know, more fuchsia toned purples in. It's not really that much of a mix up, but I tried to make things a little bit more interesting. And since we're sticking with the Valentine's Day theme, even though Valentine's Day was like a week ago, we're sticking with the theme here. So I wanted to arrange the shadows in a way that displayed love and displayed a heart, and my boyfriend actually put this together for me. I asked for his assistance and he arranged these in the way that they look right now, which is adorable, and I think that it fits perfectly with the heart-shaped theme. But enough about the actual box itself. Let's go ahead and jump on into what shadows I picked for this Valentine's Day themed Z palette. So this Valentine's Day themed Z palette would not be complete without some Valentine's Day eyeshadows. And yes, I know I am like 3 days, 4 days, maybe even 5 days late as far as Valentine's Day goes, but these are the kind of colors that I wear year round. I love pinky, purple, kind of pastel type eyeshadow looks, and these are just right up my alley. I wear things like this all the time, all year round, summer, rain, snow, whatever it may be, I am wearing stuff like this. I also went ahead and included a blush in this as well, just because I had this heart-shaped blush lying around in my collection, and I figured, you know, when is a better time to include a heart-shaped blush in a Z palette little collection video like this? There is no better time than right now, because obviously we got a heart-shaped Z palette, so we had to include the adorable heart-shaped blush. Now, this awful quality will go away in just a couple seconds here. I do not know what the heck is going on, but the camera hates the magnetic paper. It makes it just look so blurry and fuzzy, and I don't know why. So we are just gonna do what the camera wants here, and I'll go ahead and show you guys the colors that I picked out for this Valentine's Day themed eyeshadow palette. So here's a shadow that I've shown off pretty recently here on my channel. This is from Clionadh Cosmetics, and this is the shade Iceberg. Now, as you can see, this is a beautiful metallic sparkly teal, and this is an exact dupe for one of the shades in the Melt Smoke Sessions palette, the shade Blue Dream, which to me was like the standout beautiful shade in that palette. This is an almost exact, if not exact dupe, hence why I own this guy. But I decided to pop this in this Valentine's Day themed palette because I was trying to replicate a palette that I saw on the market that was from Terra Cosmetics, I believe, which is an indie brand, and they came out with a palette called the Sweet Nothings palette. Now, I don't know, I kind of still want to purchase it, even though I think that I have some of these colors. I kind of still am interested in purchasing that, I'm gonna be honest. But it's a beautiful, like, candy, sweet tart themed palette. There's purples and pinks and reds, and then there's also these beautiful teal greens that were thrown in, which really represented Valentine's Day candy to me. I mean, it just reminds me of conversation hearts. So I decided to basically replicate and try to almost dupe out that palette with things that I already had in my collection. So that is why we see a beautiful metallic teal here, which is Iceberg, if you haven't forgotten already. And just for fun, let's go ahead and swatch Iceberg. Clionadd's metallics are so buttery and like creamy feeling. I could just swatch my fingers in that all day. And here is Iceberg all swatched out. Like I said, you probably have seen this on my channel already. I included this in a recent video where I swatched everything I own from Clionadh. So this was one of my spotlight products, so this guy may be making a second appearance for you, but this is a really beautiful, creamy, smooth, metallic teal shade. So jumping to a completely different spectrum of color here, this is a beautiful matte plummy purple shade. It's not super cool toned like a lot of purples. This has a lot of plum and red undertones. This is from Colored Rain, and this is the shade Ladyship. And to me, this represents Valentine's Day perfectly, because when I think Valentine's Day, I'm thinking pinks, I'm thinking purples, and this is the perfect outer corner kind of deepening shade for any pink and purple look. So I knew automatically when I was putting this baby together, Ladyship had to be a part of the party. But let's go ahead and give her a swatch here. It's such a big leap from the metallic teal that we were at earlier. And here is Ladyship all swatched out. This is one swatch. Like, you saw this happen. That's one swatch right there. Look how even that pigmentation is. Colored Rain really has their stuff together when it comes to these beautiful, deep, dark mattes. They know exactly what to do, and they make beautiful formulas. So this sucker right here has been literally my staple go-to as far as purple and pink eyeshadow looks go. For about a month or so, I have been using this non-freaking stop. Every time that you guys have seen me with a pink eyeshadow look or even a purple eyeshadow look over the past month or so, maybe even month and a half, this has been in my crease and ran under the lower lash line as well. This is the shade 2 to Mango, and this is by Colourpop. This is such a freaking beautiful pastel, lilac-y, lavender, light purple shade. I have been using this every stinking time I do purple eye looks, and that's saying a lot, and even pink eye looks. I love it so freaking much. It is such a beautiful pastel, kind of pinky, purpley lavender shade, but it still has a decent amount of pigmentation to it. A lot of these more pastel, lighter, kind of washed out type of colors, some of them have very, very minimal pigmentation, which sucks, because who wants to spend 30 minutes building up eyeshadow on their eyeballs? Not me, that is for dang sure. But here is 2 to Mango with just 2 swatches. This is just built up 2 times here, and as you can see, she's fully pigmented. Now on the first application, the first swatch, she was a little bit sheer, but you could definitely see that beautiful lilac pinky purple base coming through. But then once you put on one more layer, you have full pigmentation, which is very, very impressive for a pastel in my opinion. And you know, I tried to include some different, more interesting shades that I don't really show off that often on my channel here with this Valentine's Day palette, just because I'm always showing off pink and purple eyeshadow, but you guys know me, you know what kind of eyeshadow I like, so I had to include something that was just to my roots, just my personal favorite types of eyeshadows, and this is from Clionadh Cosmetics. This is the shade Kawaii, and as you can see, this is a beautiful matte, kind of muted bubblegum pink. We're not fully hot pink yet. We're definitely like in the in-between stage between baby pink and hot pink. That's what bubblegum pink is to me. Now, I do find the Kawaii is, it's not really that sheer. You can definitely overblend Kawaii in all of the Clionadh Cosmetics eyeshadows that I own. For me, they're a little bit easier to blend away and to kind of muddy together, but I just have to be a little bit extra careful when using them. These are super inexpensive and they have some really beautiful colors, so I don't mind working a little bit extra for Kawaii here. So next up here is Laguna, which is from Looxi Beauty. As you can see, we're looking real similar to that first iceberg shade that I showed you guys. As you can see here, Laguna has more of like an ocean blue undertone going on. It's not quite as green and sea foamy as iceberg was, and obviously iceberg is a beautiful metallic and Laguna is a matte. But I wanted to pair together a matte teal and a metallic teal because they go perfectly together. They were legitimately made for each other, which is right on theme with Valentine's Day. But let me go ahead and swatch Laguna here. I feel like all of my swatches have been turning out suspiciously good this video. Usually my swatches are like all over the place and I always have troubles with them, but I don't know, man. I'm getting one swipe pigmentation from almost every eyeshadow and that usually doesn't happen, so either I have a really good batch of eyeshadows or I'm just becoming a little too heavy-handed with my swatching. But nonetheless, as you can see here, this is such a beautiful matte. I only swatched this one time and the pigmentation is really, really even and beautiful. And let me go ahead and blend a little bit here to show you, but you have a little bit of patchiness maybe right up here, but on top of an eyeshadow base, she is going to stay put and give you the most beautiful teal blue eyeshadow look you've ever seen. So this next eyeshadow here is truly one of the most beautiful that I have in my collection, and this is from Sydney Grace Cosmetics. This is the shade Golden Rose. Now, this is like their #1 or #2 bestseller. This is a hugely popular eyeshadow for them, and for a good reason. Look how beautiful this eyeshadow is. This is a foiled, rosy, almost mauve pink with a golden kind of shimmer and undertone running throughout it. This is more so of a mauve, rosy, metallic, beautiful eyeshadow. This color does so much on its own. Like, you really do not need to add a whole lot of other shadows with this when you use it. You could basically just throw this all over your lid, blend a little bit in the crease, and then run out the door, and you will have the most gorgeous, soft, romantic, mauve, rosy eye look, which is perfect for Valentine's Day, so obviously that is why I included her. But this is such a buttery and creamy and smooth eyeshadow. I could just take a bath in these eyeshadows, I swear. But swatching out Golden Rose here. So here she is, all swatched out. And she is so stinking beautiful. And as you can see, this shade definitely has a little bit more of a mauve undertone going on. But when I turn my arm, you can definitely see that beautiful golden sheen running throughout it. And I personally like the mauve undertone because I have a whole heck of a lot of pinky, kind of golden duochrome type shadows. And this one is really unique and sticks out because of the mauve undertone. So this next eyeshadow is another one that you may have seen. This might be a second appearance for you as far as eyeshadows go, but this is Bon Bon from Clionadh Cosmetics, and I just had to include this in here. This was a part of their Valentine's Day collection from last year, from 2018? 2018. It's 2019. Get with the program, lady. But Bon Bon is a beautiful metallic purple that has a really strong fuchsia and almost pinky base. It has a bit of a fuchsia duochrome going on. It's kind of like a indigo-y purple shade with a fuchsia duochrome. And it is one of the prettiest metallic purples, if not the prettiest metallic purple. I don't know why I swatched that twice, but nonetheless, I guess we're just gonna roll with it. But it is a beautiful metallic purple shade, and I just had to include this. Bon Bon was literally made for Valentine's Day, so I think I would be doing her a little bit of a disservice by not including her in this palette, and she goes beautifully with all the rest of the shades that I've chosen. So I'm the kind of girl that likes to have a brow bone and an inner corner and even a face highlighter in almost every single one of my palettes. Now, I'm not really the kind of person that will dock away points from a pre-made eyeshadow palette like from Sephora or from Ulta or something, but when I'm putting together my little Z palettes, I always have to include a beautiful beaming brow bone, an inner corner, and even face highlight. And I decided to pick out the shade Bling Supreme, which is from Kristen Leigh Cosmetics, which is a brand that I have been really diving into. Like, I basically dipped my toes in and Kristen Leigh pushed me in the pool herself because I have been buying freaking everything from her brand. So thanks a lot, Kristen. I'm just kidding. Her products are actually really good, and I'm going to be doing a review on them somewhere in the near future because I'm still expecting packages from her, so. But Bling Supreme obviously is an iridescent white kind of eyeshadow that has a bunch of sparkles running throughout it, but it has a golden and almost like lavendery, purpley type of sparkle running through this iridescent shadow. Now, I am a collector of iridescent shadows. I have really built up my collection of them, like more than I'd like to admit, let's be honest here. But Bling Supreme to me is unique because of those beautiful purple and gold sparkles running throughout it. It almost tints the actual shadow itself like a light lavendery purple, especially when you build it up on the inner corner. You really get like a lavender tint running throughout the shadow, which is awesome because I am always welcoming of the color lavender in my makeup, unless it's like lavender lipstick, because that, my friends, is not my gig. Okay, so here, I think you're going to be able to see that beautiful lavender iridescence that almost tints the product. A lot of these iridescent shades kind of just look like a white base with a bunch of different micro sparkles that are just multicolored throughout them, but this shade definitely has almost like a lavendery golden base to it, which I really like. I think it's really beautiful. So moving along here to a long lost old flame of mine that I kind of rediscovered while I was looking for eyeshadows to put in this palette. This is Sorbet by Makeup Geek, and as you can see here, we have gotten to know each other very well over the past few years, but sometimes things just don't work out, and sometimes people in eyeshadows, I'm talking about eyeshadows here, not people, sometimes they just get pushed to the back of your collection, unfortunately, and start to gather dust and you forget that they even existed. But I am about to rekindle my old love with this guy because this is such a beautiful, perfect transition shade for pink and purple eyeshadow looks, which obviously I'm always talking about pink and purple. It's all I freaking wear. But Sorbet is just beautiful for blending out and basically using as a transition shade or even like a matte brow bone highlight. Sorbet is probably the most pale pastel pink you'll ever see. It has a bit of like a creamy undertone to it. It's not quite pastel, it's a little bit more creamy, but I'm gonna go ahead and just chunk it on in with the pastel category here because it's so light it could practically be pastel. So of course in the swatch this isn't really gonna look like much, but this is the kind of eyeshadow that works together with other eyeshadows to just make a beautiful blended look. You know, everyone in the relationship has gotta work. We're talking Valentine's Day themes here. We're talking love advice. Everyone's gotta come together and put in a little bit of effort to make things work, and then when they do, the result is beautiful. Have you guys had enough of my cheesy and ridiculously corny Valentine's Day jokes yet? Because we still have a few eyeshadows to go. So this next eyeshadow is, to me, like the epitome of Valentine's Day. This color just represents Valentine's Day so beautifully, but this beautiful satiny metallic red is called Scarlett Faith, and this is from Beauty Escape Cosmetics. Now, as you can see, this is one of the most beautiful pink-based red eyeshadows I think I've ever seen in my entire life, and I really love this shade because of the undertone. It has a really strong pink undertone. It definitely leans almost hot pink, but not quite. It still has a little bit of that rusty red undertone going throughout it, so it definitely brings it down to the red category, but I love that it's just like right on the line. It's just right in between pink and red. It's so stinking beautiful. And to me, this shade is definitely more of a satin. I think I called it a metallic earlier, so my bad. But this is definitely more of a satin. You can buff this in the crease and it will basically turn matte, or you can pack it all over the lids for a light kind of sheen on your eyes. This is another one and done eyeshadow type of scenario here. You can literally pack this all over the lids, get a beautiful pinky red sheen, and then buff it in the crease and it'll look like you put two different eyeshadows on your eyeballs. When in reality, we were feeling a little bit lazy today and we only put one. But let me go ahead and show you how beautiful this eyeshadow is swatched. Honestly guys, I don't really think I need to say much about this. Look how beautiful this eyeshadow is. This is just the most, I don't know, Valentine's sultry type of eyeshadow I think I've ever seen. This fits the theme perfectly, and I think it's because this eyeshadow is a satin and it has that beautiful hot pinky kind of base to it that it gives it a really flirty vibe that works perfectly with Valentine's Day. This eyeshadow almost reminds me of like red satin or like red velvet cake. gosh, I'm wanting red velvet cake now. Shouldn't have mentioned it. But nonetheless, this just reminds me of like a date night out in your beautiful red satiny dress and you're eating red velvet cake also. Kind of an obscure scenario, but that sounds like a great night to me. Second to last eyeshadow in the bunch here is from Makeup Geek as well, and this is the shade I'm Peachless. Now this is a duochrome. It's almost like a tan based eyeshadow that has a super strong and intense orangey peachy sheen running throughout it. It's really beautiful. This is a shadow that everyone and their mama used to talk about here on YouTube. But these eyeshadows were classics for a reason. These are really beautiful, and I don't really find that this eyeshadow has that much of a duochrome shift. I mean, we've progressed pretty far in the beauty community and the beauty industry here, so you know, we got like multi-chromes, polychromes, we got all sorts of chromes going on here in the beauty industry. So you know, these like slightly duochrome type eyeshadows they don't even count as duochromes in my eyes anymore, but nonetheless, I'm Peachless allegedly as a duochrome. The camera is definitely washing her out a little bit. In person, she has more of like an orangey peachy undertone, and she's a little bit reflective as well, but a little more satiny. So I like this personally as a lid shade. If I'm going for like a glitter cut crease, this is the perfect kind of shade to use on the lid to get that glitter in your cut crease to really stand out. A lot of times I will go in with a super thick layer of glitter just all over my lids, and then I'll try to like top a glitter cut crease on top of that, and it looks like a jumbled mess. So sometimes you need something that's a little bit softer, has a little bit of a sheen going on, but nothing too wild, to get that glitter cut crease to pop. Or maybe you're just into softer, kind of more satiny eyeshadows. You know, that's a possibility as well here. And in case you have made it this far, to this point in the video here, then congratulations, my friend, because you have made it to the prettiest eyeshadow, in my opinion, of the bunch here. And this is from Looxi Beauty. This is the shade Tesla. I have two of these because I use them so freaking much. This is a duochrome eyeshadow, but this is like the hottest bubblegum pink eyeshadow you've ever seen, that has kind of like a champagne and a baby blue undertone, which I know to some sounds absolutely insane, but as you can see when I'm turning the pan here, you can see a little bit of that blue coming through, but it's nothing that's like overwhelming or too crazy, which I think is really pretty, because this basically just looks like a bubblegum hot pink eyeshadow on your eyes. And then when you turn your face in certain lights and you close your eyes and certain fluorescent lights or outside or wherever you may be on the day you wear Tesla, you are gonna see a little tiny kiss of baby blue on your eyeballs. Let's go ahead and swatch Tesla here so I can show you guys the magic that is like hidden within this eyeshadow. Alright, so here is Tesla swatched out. Do you see what I am talking about here when I say that this is probably the prettiest eyeshadow, if not one of the prettiest out of the bunch here? Because this is such a unique eyeshadow that I've seen other brands try to do before, but no one is really just able to capture hot pink, a kiss of baby blue, and baby pink all in one eyeshadow like Tesla is here. This is such a beautiful shade. And, you know, I'm gonna have to bust this guy back out because honestly, I took a little break from Tesla, and I'm a little embarrassed to admit that because, you know, she's absolutely stunning. Like, this is like if you're dating a male model and you decide to take a little break for a little bit because, you know, you're just bored. You put him on the back burner and then you rediscover that, oh yeah, I used to date a male model. Let me give him a call. That's how I'm feeling right now. That is not even in the slightest of how I'm feeling, but you know, we're still sticking with those Valentine's Day puns here. Looxi's Tesla is one of the prettiest shadows I think you'll ever see. Unless by any chance you're not into pink eyeshadow, and if that's the scenario, then I have to ask you, why are you here? All I wear is pink eyeshadow. Did you get lost? And of course, because we made this beautiful heart-shaped Z palette that was basically made from an old Valentine's chocolate box, I had to include this beautiful heart-shaped blush from Too Faced. This is the shade Justify My Love. This is such a beautiful, cool-toned, bubblegummy baby pink. And you can definitely sheer this out on the cheeks if this looks totally crazy to you. This is like way too pink and in your face. You can definitely sheer it out. It goes on a little bit more buildable. I find that the Too Faced Love Flush blushes legitimately took me, I think, 10 tries to get that sentence out of my mouth. but we made it here. We're past the finish line. I find that the Love Flush blushes are a little bit more buildable than I personally go for. You know, they go on a bit more sheer, but after about 2 or 3 applications of the blush on your cheeks, you can really see the true color and pigmentation of these guys. But in the same fashion of the eyeshadows here, let's go ahead and swatch out Justify My Love. Such a beautiful, cool toned, bubblegummy pink with a little bit of a mauve undertone blush. I freaking love this shade and I don't use it enough, so this is inspiring me to pull this guy back out and to use him again. And just like that, we are done with swatches. Alright guys, so that is basically it for this heart-shaped Valentine's themed Valentine's Chocolate Box Z palette. I really hope that you enjoyed seeing all of the different shadows that I picked out. I hope you enjoyed seeing this put together, and if you're like me and you run out of Z palettes all the time and don't want to go out and purchase a bunch of them because they take up a lot of space and they can be on the pricier side, I hope that this inspires you to maybe look around your house and see if you have a small flat box, because honestly it was cheaper to just put this together myself, and I personally know I'm gonna get a whole lot of use out of this. I have shadows that are like stacked on top of each other that need to be put in a Z palette, so this was the perfect thing for me. I cannot thank Yvonne enough for suggesting this idea to me, because I almost went out and purchased that heart-shaped eyeshadow palette, and now I don't have to because I have one and it cost me $9. If you're like me and you run out of Z palettes all the time and you find yourself needing some but not wanting to really spend the money on it, then I really hope that you try this out. I don't think you'll regret it, and you'll have a Z palette that you made on your own. It's kind of fun. Arts and crafts can be kind of cool. Now, I'm not really the kind of person that always DIYs stuff because I kind of suck at DIYs, to be honest, but this is something that is needed for a lot of makeup addicts like me and you here. And honestly, can we ever have enough Z palettes? Because I don't think we really can. So if you can save a little bit of money on it by using something that's already in your house, then why not? But that is everything that I have for you guys today, and I really hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you did, I would absolutely love it if you gave me a big old thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed and you enjoyed the video and you want to see more, then might I entice you to hit that subscribe button down below. But I hope that you are having an absolutely amazing and beautiful day wherever you are, and thank you so much for joining me and spending your time here today. Your time is valuable, so thank you for spending it with me. But I hope to see you next time. Bye!